Hello, gamers, and welcome to the University of Toronto esports stream. This is your first broadcast brought to you with the Intramurals 2025 winter split. It feels good to say that 2025, brand new year, same old us. It's me, it's your boy, it's your host Spaffles, joined by the ever so lovely Computero.
Hello.
So, Computer, why don't you lead us into this matchup that we have today?
Yeah, so tonight we have it's exciting very first match of the split. We have Team Bearfoo Hunters going up against Blahaj fan club. So two teams, full of familiar faces if you watched last Intramurals or if you're generally around in the U of T Overwatch community. A lot of our sort of regulars here. It's going to be an exciting match, I think.
Yep, so here with the Bearfoo Hunters as well, we got some rather new faces. I know the Blahaj are a lot more familiar to all of y'all, but the Bearfoo, you got to give them some credit. You got I Like Chicken, you got Kiwi, and Laufey, Sparkplug, and Wild Pants. Right, I see some big potential from these players. I'm hearing quite a bit of buzz. Can they prove their worth against some of these, more established names in the U of T ecosystem?
Well, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't heard any buzz in terms of specifically the comps they're gonna be playing, because I think it's gonna be we're in a weird meta state. Like there's been a lot of hazard play, but then recently people have, with like this whole Torb sim stuff, if you've been following Overwatch esports, it seems like hazard meta has maybe been broken. Plus, to throw into that, we have a ban system for this Intramurals, same as last Intramurals, but if you aren't up to speed, basically the way it works is that each map, each team gets to ban 2 heroes. Any given hero can only be banned once in the series, and a given team on a given map can't ban 2 heroes on the same role. So you have 4 heroes banned every map, different 4 heroes every map. And so it's really going to shake up the compositions we're going to see. It's going to really be encouraging players to sort of exhibit, their strategic minds, exhibit their flexibility and their adaptability. And it's going to throw a lot of chaos into the mix. I think we're going to see very few mirror matches. I think we're going to see an enormous range of heroes played, perhaps some very silly heroes, perhaps some of, the Reinhardt, the Torbjorn, the Symmetra, these sorts of things. Really no idea what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, 4 bans per map, that's like double the amount that you see in the OWCS right now. And that's going to definitely, like you said, throw a wrench in things and make sure that these teams, they're on their tippy toes. They make sure to keep picking different things and to really strategize how their bans play out. Now, also to sort of set the stakes here a little bit, we have our prizing information. So first place in the U of T 2025 Winter Intramurals will receive a grand total of $150 dues to share between all the members of the team, powered by BMO. Yeah, you can see them down there cycling through the screen. Thank you so much. Second place will receive a grand total of $50 as well, and the Intramurals MVP will receive an additional $10 on top of that. So make sure to stay tuned with your scorecards. At the end of every series, we'll be crowning MVPs, and then as those players collect those MVPs, we'll crown an Intramural MVP of the entire split.
Yeah, so a lot to play for the individual players, and a lot to play for the teams. A lot to play for the Blahaj fan club and for the Bearfoo Hunters. Big thank you again to our friends at BMO. As we get ready to head into the match, we're going on to Ilios. So Ilios Lighthouse, very much, this is a map we almost always see dive on. Winston historically has been very strong. Wrecking Ball, of course, with Hazard in play. Neither team has banned Hazard. The bans currently that we have on this map, we have Winston, has been banned, in fact, along with Juno, Mercy, oddly enough, and Soldier 76.
Yeah, I guess the Soldier Mercy ban is targeted.
Yeah. Looks like we're going into a Hazard mirror. Hazard Moira versus Akirigo.
Yeah, Moira really does excel at pumping out those heroes and making sure that the team is able to stay as healthy as possible. Like obviously Hazard is going to make a first move after that. First blood wall painting down. Kiwi followed shortly after. And that's 2 fatal blows to the Bearfoo Hunters. Hunters become hunted. Another falls in the hands of Hypothesis. The tank/DPS turn support.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, I think you like the Curie. You know, the Curie Lucio is a bit stronger, but the Moira, it does offer just that ability to go with a really high pace. And the, you know, we see the Ashe team sort of struggles to deal with that really high pace engagement, and so much damage from the Hazard.
Now it's time for round 2. Through early Hypothesis, hungry for blood, gets 1 kill, leads directly into another kill. He's able to convert one to their side, and with the flex support down over the Blahaj gameplay, maybe things are going to get issued.
We do see Hypothesis take the trade on the Kiriko. Genji trade as well. Can't quite find the shot on Kelly to finish off that Genji, but the whole time, Blahaj fans, but they have had the point. Doctor telling me he's going to be back on, so it looks like Blahaj fans, they're going to be able to stabilize. Definitely they'll be able to stabilize with that. I like Chicken going down once again, 3rd time this map, I think.
Can anybody lock Hypothesis down? Even though he's been able to wreak complete havoc, it's still not enough to really set Blahaj permanently. That was a nice engage. Aspas is the one to convert the first kill. Locking down. No hazard, no tank, no space to be controlled.
Yeah, between the Lucio, you know, the various abilities that has so many boots to play, none of them, it seems, are enough to save Break. It's a bit of a decent pair. Coupled with no healing. Blahaj fans, they're going to have to back up a bit here. This is a really, really big window for Bearfoo Hunters.
Yeah, overextended too much. And once again, I like Chicken's going to make the same mistake twice, directly into the enemy team. As soon as you save them from a steady slots to Wrath, and Lofty is the one to scare her down directly. Overclock comes through for Aspas. He's not able to convert into any kills, but the pressure is noticeable. Kitsune rushes back onto the side, and she has no way to escape. The Achilles able to secure that kill. Fensock rips the blades. Now it's going even deeper. They are managing to go on the beat, though. Farid gets another kill. It's a clean.
They commit the beat. Wait, beats on both sides.
Okay. I thought we were ready to wrap up, but now it's doubling out. We're engaging kids. Kiriko TT's out of farm's area, and Aspas has enough time to get back in the spawn. I thought this gets good.
Oh, it's caught.
Major sort of healing down. I thought this is with that second kill. Aspas securing the Q as well. Even though they were able to flip that point, it's going to flip right back onto Blahaj.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit curious about that decision to beat from Wildpants with no DPS online, but in the end it kind of worked. You got, you know, decent ult trade, no real ults on either side. You got some good point pressure, but now Bearfoo Hunters, they're really going to need to find a point touch. It's 90% and ticking. They have no more ults left to work with except this overclock from I Like Chicken, who goes down first.
Hypothesis again, first blood, every single fight. Parade gets a kill with a spark plug as well. No supports, no healing, and Kiwi. Wildpants is able to turn it back. Bearfoo arms hanging on for dear life. Lucio does fall, unfortunately, and even though the overtime win is burning down, it's not going to save them. And Blahaj secure the first round in a pretty clean fashion.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I see the idea, you know, trying to clutch up with Beat and Blade. For Bearfoo Hunters, they did have an ult advantage, but, you know, the Beat's just a bit too early. The Blade comes out too late. The downpour's there to sort of root up the Blade. And in general, you know, when the other team has 85% on the board like that, you can't afford to lose that fight and, you know, stagger out and spend all your ultimates. You saw, you know, they had, it was 85. They had time for a recontest, but the recontest just so scuffed. Really no chance of finding it. But I think ultimately we're seeing, like, I Like Chicken get just punished a lot on this hit scan roll. You know, Hypothesis and Phoraic, just such a deadly duo with these constant, like, high tempo pressures onto the hit scan, which is really what Hazard excels at. And we're going to be seeing more of similar, same comp from Blahaj. Cast Tracer now for Bearfoo Hunters.
Yeah, maybe they can finally mark and track this Lucio down. I Like Chicken opening up with a nice little flank, was able to lead some of their aggro with the rest of the team.
Suzu early.
HP Kinder comes out, and Hypothesis is the first one to die. I'm about flipping the table right on its head. Huey falls next to Ascetic Sato. She's out with a Vengeance for Rake with another kill onto I Like Chicken as well. And this is a pretty
nice shot
case for the Blahaj handbook.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, the Hypothesis goes down first, but we see just Bearfoo, they just get kind of caught up on that cage side. Suzu forced out early, Lofty and Kewi both take so much damage. that in the end they just get choked out, really overwhelmed.
Yep, and as they are looking into the second fight, trying to replay some things at the same rate, but maybe change up a lot more. Ferraic drops down to low HP, is forced to regroup with his healers. Unfortunately, does not give it that Liberty Edge. Dr. Tony is the first one to drop. I Like Chicken gets the kill onto Ferraic now without any heals. Hypothesis, though, trades it back onto I Like Chicken. It's going to be a game of cat and mouse, though, as they're hiding around their lighthouse, and Bearfoo marches towards the point cap.
Ooh, can't quite stop the recontest there. Aesthetic Sock's in a bit of trouble here. Hopefully he'll be able to play life. Wildpant's looking for the cleanup. Looks like Aesthetic Sock will be able to escape. Stuck behind now. They're still chasing this Genji. Looks like they will find the kill. It looks like Aesthetic Sock does manage to escape. In this meantime, the Kitsune Rush and the downpour come out. Beat from Wildpants. Hypothesis goes down. Kewi also down. It's a melee on the point, but it looks like Bearfoo Hunters are coming out on top.
Yeah, Blahaj is just, unfortunately, they fall a little too short in terms of raw numbers, and Bearfoo are able to keep this train rolling. There is absolutely no stopping them now. They actually overtook Blahaj for the first time in the series as well.
The silver lining for Blahaj, though, is that you only spend the downpour, you get double support ults out, you have your own double support ults coming up. Hypothesis has, gone down early twice, so quite slow to build his beat. But will have it this next fight. Coalescence to open things up along with the overclock. Blahaj should be able to win this next fight, and they kind of need to.
Yeah, Lofty posturing very aggressively. Hypothesis runs in to try and see as much damage as he can reap. It's going to be a return.
Lofty really low, goes down.
He is the one that falls first, and it's just a matter of leading out the rest of those team members. I like.
Oh, nice boop.
Boop from Wild Pants takes Aspast out. And then Sock is there to trade it back, and it's a point left as well for Blahaj. Now Ferraic is just on active duty, trying to make sure nobody else is able to touch this point.
You save your beat in that too, so Hypothesis and Aesthetic Sock, they still have their ultimates online, the Genji and Lucio. Just a downpour for Laffy, and they're going early with the blade. Already one found, dodges the downpour, finds two, and
that three. I mean, Hypothesis may have gotten the final blow on a couple of those, but hey, the last hit isn't all that matters, and the hazard is going in deep. Laffy gets punished for existing on the point, and Blahaj are marching towards a pretty triumphant round.
yeah, I mean, they still have the beat online. They're coming up towards throwing downpour. Not a whole lot. Just the Deadeye gonna be for what might be last fight. For Bearfoo Hunters, early beat from Hypothesis. Will they be able to find conversion with this? They're looking for Wild Pants. They find Kewi. So no Deadeye. Hypothesis in trouble. Looks like he'll be able to escape. Will they be able to find a touch? I Like Chicken does find the touch.
Yep, I Like Chicken is leading the charge. Ferraic gets a kill though, and now it's the sandwiched Bracer trying to make the ends meet. Dr. Tony on an absolute tear, and Bearfoo secure this, or sorry, Blahaj secure the second round. It was looking a little bit dicey there. I saw there are signs of cracks, right? And you know what they say?
Yeah, definitely.
Control is very scrappy. It's kind of a different. It's a different form of Overwatch. So
that is true. That is true.
Yeah, and seeing the way that these fights were flipped, and how both these teams were able to either fully commit or to save these ults, that was really nice to see. But maybe they can bring it back in more of a strategic aspect of the next map.
I think the silver linings here for Bearfoo, or Bearfoo Hunters, that is, are I think Kewi was doing good work on the Castia on that second round, just able to pump a lot of damage, find some early picks onto the Moira, onto the Lucio. I think we saw Hypothesis, as much as his aggression was getting a lot of value, it was also getting punished. They had the earlier beat. They had, the matchup of the Kiriko into the Moira, the Kitsune Rush, they were able to win a fight with, just having the stronger support out there. But I think if I'm Bearfoo Hunters, I'm looking to avoid this Hazard matchup, to be honest, because that Hazard Genji Lucio trio, Hypothesis, Aesthetic Sock, and Ferraic, those three are so aggressive, and they're continually running down, be it the Moira, be it the Lucio, be it the Cassidy, or the Sojourn, or the Ashe, or even the Hazard. They're continually, running down, isolating, just members of Bearfoo Hunters, and they're really. It seems like they're not able to deal with this level of dive aggression, where continually we see 2 or 3 of those players, that Lucio, Genji, Hazard, just rushing on someone, and with the the boop, the wall, and the speed, they're just really really struggling to deal with those engages. I mean, we saw with the beat drop fight. They just go in aggro. With the blade fight. We had the Lucio and the Genji. They're operating as a unit. So I think we're seeing just really good coordination from those frontline attackers on the side of Blahaj fan club.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good analysis. And so, well, now that we have identified, right, that this core, the Hazard, the Lucio, and the Genji, are just really, really terrifying in the hands of the Blahaj members. I mean, we've seen the kind of a mess that happens when your backline is so scattered and you have so much focus damage on certain targets. It's really not able to burst heal them, even when you are running that Kiriko to try and Suzu and save your targets. Do you think that the answer for this maybe lays in, a different team composition, or do you think that they're going to try to start banning out these characters and sort of take them away strategically?
Yeah, I think because they lost that map, Bearfoo Hunters, they have the map ban, and they have the or they have the map pick, and they have the first bans. So I think really, if I'm them, I'm looking to, on this hybrid, I'm looking to take a map like maybe a King's Row, maybe even something like Numbani or Blizzard World, something where you have like a bit more of these like longer sight lines where the hazard's less powerful, where you can get your backline some more space. Maybe ban out the Lucio, maybe ban out the Hazard, maybe ban out the Genji. Just try and because I think they're really struggling to deal with this frontline aggression. Maybe the switch up is that they want to play something like maybe a Brig Juno backline to live that better. Maybe bring in something like a Torbjorn or Symmetra. As much as those are historically silly picks, if you've been following the Overwatch Champions series, you'd know that they're actually very very strong. We've seen crazy raccoons playing Torb Symmetra. So those are viable picks, but I think really in terms of the style they want to play, I think if I'm them, I want to avoid the Hazard matchup definitely, and more generally avoid these like really really aggressive like dive rush style comps that the Hazard Genji Lucio is, where where we see their backline just really really struggling to deal with and to match, and their front line to match that level of aggression. So I think try and move away from that, try and play like a slower style, more of like a back to front, pokey style, something with like a Sigma or a Reinhardt.
All right, okay. Now that we have 4 characters that can no longer be banned that are coming back to play. We saw that last round Blahaj were the ones that banned sorry, I just lost it. Blahaj are the ones that banned Winston Juno. So perhaps the Winston in the hands of the Bearfoo Hunters might sort of be one of those answers, or the Juno even, right? Being able to have the access to all of that mobility and that damage amp and the massive healing from the ultimates. That could be a really big answer to them in terms of a lot of these questions that Blahaj are slinging out. Then also, it brings into question, are Blahaj going to be a team that runs Soldier Mercy? As I feel like Bearfoo running out first round and banning that specific combination makes me really feel like that's one of the strategies that Blahaj is going to go for. Are they going to pair?
I'd be surprised, to be honest. I'm more thinking like either Bearfoo Hunters, maybe they wanted to protect those heroes, because now that Soldier Mercy, Winston, and Juno have been banned in the first map, they're available for the rest of the series no matter what. So maybe they want to play those heroes later down the line, and they figured they're not going to incorporate that on Control. I know last Intramurals, my team had, Illusion, famously a Widow one trick on our team. So we would very often ban Widow on Control, because you don't play Widow on Control anyway, most of the time. And then that frees us up to, we know that we have our Widow available the rest of the series. It might be something like that, but I'm really not sure. I think the Winston Juno, though, definitely show that Blahaj feel like their team is stronger in the Hazard mirror and they're stronger in the Lucio mirror, and that's what I've been seeing. It looks like we're going to be going to King's Row. Interesting. And Bearfoo are banning Hazard May, so the Hazard ban makes sense with what I've been saying. I think on the whole, Blahaj just coming up on top of the Hazard mirror. The May ban maybe is to enable like a Reinhardt style, but then Blahaj hitting right back. banning Reinhardt and Kiriko. The Rein ban, I think, also makes sense here. Laffy, if you know him, fairly known for enjoying that Reinhardt character. That's sort of one of his strengths. The Mei ban probably to enable that. The Kiriko, I'm not sure. That maybe means we'll see more of like a Moira Lucio matchup. Maybe Juno Brig. Maybe even like Ana.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the angle that this is going to go for, right? Because historically, Kings Row is a very rush or brawl heavy map, but now that you've got if you're Bearfoo, right, you ban Mei to enable that sort of rush / brawl play style. You support a lot of your compositions. You make sure that your Reinhardt can't be caught off guard by those walls. But then to ban Reinhardt right after that, Blahaj, you're sort of blocking that and going, no, we don't want you to be able to play this Reinhardt. You're angling towards that. Let's try and pivot you in a different direction. So I'm not too familiar with the current state of the meta, but do you think we could potentially see maybe Ramontra, maybe Orisa?
I think
one of those more...
Yeah. With Hazard and Rein out, it's actually very open. I think we could see Orisa, we could see Ramontra, we could see Mauga, we could see Winston, we could see Diva. There's actually, if Hazard is banned, there's an enormous number of tanks that are viable. So it's really, really open. I think we might see the tanks just playing to their preferences. We might honestly see a bit of like a counter swap matchup where, I go Mauga, you go Sigma, I go Ramontra, you go Orisa to counter that out, and then I go, something like a Winston to counter that out, and then you go Mauga in response, and like, this sort of over and over counter swap matchup in the Florida Mayhem Toronto Defiance style. It looks like we'll be opening up on Diva into Winston.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's an all or nothing, right? We're either playing Reinhardt or we're just going right back to Dive. And I'm not complaining. Dive is pretty fun to watch anyways. Yeah. You got
Brig.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Aesthetics are already taking down I Like Chicken. Kiwi, it looks like it's going to be sticking on this Widow, and Dr. Tony is in fact going to be on the Mercy. So Bearfoo knows something we don't. I guess Dr. Tony favors that Mercy pick. Aspas, nice shot onto Kiwi.
God.
So far, the defense is looking really strong for Blahaj.
And there's that Mercy pocket that we were talking about. Is Bearfoo they were aware, they were afraid of it, and now it's coming to sort of strike them back. And also, I want to address it again. Aesthetic saw getting that first pick on in the Tracer on Tracer 1v1 so early. That's a big blow. And Askbust again managed to take Kiwi's head clean off. The Diva is willing to retaliate. The Locky is clearing a lot of space on point, but unfortunately gets team-necked with not enough support from the rest of the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea with this comp for Blahaj is pretty clear. They want to play this dive style where they're fundamentally playing around their Mercy boosted Sojourn, giving a lot of resources to that Soj and letting their backline play in the back of the map. Laffy go over to the Ram now. I don't think I really like the DPS line for Bearfoo here. The DPS line wants to play it slow, but the tank and the Juno Brig want to run fast onto the Sojourn, right, and close that distance quickly. And we're seeing Kiwi struggle so much against the Mercy boosted Soj.
Yep, Frake leading the charge, almost a little too ambitious, nearly gets caught out on the choke. Never mind, Laffy is able to force and push forwards and take Frake down. This is a sort of opening that you need, but the nano boost on top of the Mercy boost, and the Husbats gets 2! The overclock value is immaculate. Even though it's getting run down by 3 members right now, the healing is still sustaining. Yes, they're going to give away a third, and they're not even going to get to a third as Frake is back on the fight.
Aspas is in a bit of trouble, will be able to survive. The question is, will Sparkplug be able to survive now? There's a nice pulse from Aesthetics onto Kiwi. Kiwi going down again. Bearfoo have managed to get themselves set up on the objective now, though. They have gotten a tick. Aspas does take down Wild Pants, though, so that might be the end of this push for Bearfoo Fan Club. As indeed, Laffy will go down. The rally does come out anyway, though.
Yeah, sort of just trying to fan the flames and trying to, salvage something from the situation. I feel like it's very, very late.
Did you see the orbital ray come out?
Wait a second.
Did Wild Pants Ajax that? Oh, so you lose double support ults if you're Bearfoo Fan Club. you still don't have your Dragon Strike, you still don't have your Annihilation, part of the strong assault to begin with, and you know there's Valk Primal online and Aesthetic Socks again taking down a first pick on a Wild Pants. Looks like Sparkplug is going to be soon to follow, and there's a minute left on the clock for Bearfoo Fan Club, or Bearfoo Hunters rather. They got to figure something out and fast. They have, you know, one fight left.
Yeah, I mean, Bearfoo, they have a significant problem on their hands. They're running Juno, they're running the Brigitte, but the Brigitte is not able to protect her flex support. And having Aesthetic Sock just completely on fire this match, and has Blahaj have 4 ultimates at their disposal. I don't really see a way for them to cut through.
That's a 5-man nade from Hypothesis. That is really, really enormous. Dive in with the nano boost, immediately cleaning up one, and they don't need to get more. Frag playing it smart. Will back out, won't overcommit because there's 15 seconds left. Bearfoo Fan Club, they have to make a push right now. They don't have time to wait, and another nade comes out.
Yep, beautiful nade from Hypothesis, really getting that value in. Lofty is running in deep with the Annihilation though, has no support, goes down quickly, and Aesthetic Sock is just looking for the next opportunity, the next kill. They do have to touch now. The Wick is burning down, almost C9s it, and I Like Chicken is on the flank right now, looking for anything that they can, and it's a Charlie Niner. I just, you know, I want to call it a C9, but like, you didn't really have something going there, so is it really a throw?
They'd probably lose that anyway. I think just in general, though, I mean, I think Bearfoo Hunters, they had the right idea with their draft coming in, right? That they want to avoid the hazard matchup. They want to take like a flatter map, a bit of a wider map. And Blahaj, they have a very clear idea of how they want to play this, right? They want to play the Ana Winston for, you know, just to play strength. They want to play the Tracer to control the angles, and they want to play the Mercy Sojourn to really just pump damage over those long angles. And, you know, it's King's Row defense. They kind of force the enemy to come to them. And really, Bearfoo Hunters, I don't think they had a clear idea of how they wanted to play this. I think we saw Kewi playing, you know, those hitscan heroes, you know, the Widow, the Cassidy, the Hanzo, that want to play slow and just kind of chunk damage into the front line and trade poke, which, you know, against the Mercy Soj, you really need some help. You know, matching that poke, you really need maybe a Mercy Pocket of your own, or a Sigma, or something like that, like a Zenyatta or an Alari, or, you know, you need your team comp to be geared around that long range damage. But instead, the Ram Juno Brig that wants to go in fast, go in aggressive, and we see none of the DPS that want to be doing that as well. You know, like a Venture or a Reaper or a Symmetra. It's like, you know, you can either trade poke with Zodran, or you can go aggressive and try and run her down, but they kind of just did neither. It is winnable though. They did get, I think, 2 ticks. They do still have a shot in this game.
Yeah, and you're seeing Bearfoo, they took a second, they recalibrated themselves, and they're looking at how are we going to manage this. Hypothesis, not managing at all, falls first to Wild Pants, and they do have the res, so they are able to keep the momentum going, but there wasn't much momentum to begin with. I'm going to agree. They just wanted to spawn.
Fast is going to be sticking it on this Widow. Both teams favoring the Widow on the offense. It's going to be tough into... I mean, the Venture Genji... No, this is a real comp from Bearfoo Hunters now. You know, really clear idea. Bastax is going to be under a lot of pressure, but right now it's I Like Chicken under a lot of pressure. Manages to get pocketed, get those armor packs, will survive. Meanwhile, the Genji onto Bastax though, and we see like this comp, you know, the Winston Venture Genji wants to go really aggro, put tons and tons of pressure on that hit scan, and with your hit scan pressured out, it's hard to get value from the Mercy. It's actually really, really good compositional adaptation to what Blahaj has been running. You only wish maybe they'd figured that out a couple of minutes ago.
Now they are staging in to go in deep. Farake leaps first onto the points. They are creating a lot of space that's useful for the rest of the team. Kiwi gets dropped down to low HP, gets finished off actually, and that might be the crack in their armor. Aspects gets a kill. Aspects gets 2. Oh my god, this Widowmaker, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, the honor shot's pretty free. You know, you kind of just can't be hard scoped into a Widow like that, but the nice shot on the Brig really throwing the needle there. And yeah, it's going to be a really tough reading test. They have ults, Bearfoo Hunters, but it's going to be tough for them to leverage them. It looks like it's going to be Kewi to find the retouch. They do get the nano out. Orbital Ray in response. Kewi already falling low. Lots of pressure from Aesthetics onto this Ana. Will be forced to back out. Hypothesis does go down. Trade of supports. And there's the blade coming out from Kewi.
If Kewi does get 1, Lofty with another 2. Are they able to pull this back? Right, the Dragon Blade was
my.
fruitful, but Aspects with a nice shot as well. You know, I was really starting to doubt this Widowmaker mixed in with the dive, but they've made their weight return worth 10 times in gold.
I mean, okay, hypothesis he can be getting off Lucio. I was wondering, Lucio Mercy. It's not 2017 anymore. Yeah, I mean, we do see, you know, the Regent is really nice, but they do have to spend, you know, Nano and Blade to get that. Blade online for Aesthetic Socks. We're going to be able to see what they're going to be able to get done with that.
Yep.
Still fairly even alt state. A minute left for Blahaj fan club. They have one more tick to get.
Yeah, Lofty holding their ground. They're going to contest this hotel entrance. Prey gets dropped down to low HP. Is forced to panic Primal, and now tossing all of these members around on the fight. They're going to be forced all the way to the back. Aesthetic Sock falls down, and the it's an alt salad.
It will be now. Fast and Dr. Tony are set up. They've taken this Mega Room. Looks like they'll be able to hold in this. Lofty is committing into your Sparkplug as well. Will they be able to find the trades here? Aspects does go down. But they have pressure on the point. Aesthetics are now over onto the Echo. Falling quite low. And there's the Nano from Lofty, but Sleep does not connect. And it looks like Hypothesis is going to lose the Nano boost and go down. It's disaster for Blahaj fan club.
Yeah, Blahaj fan club, for a team that looked so dominant and they completely full held the first point, they are struggling immensely here. They burnt so much. They used all of their ultimates that they had available to them, and they still were not able to push through. Now 6 seconds remaining. Are they going to be able to get that touch? It seems like the answer is yes.
Will survive. Varaic now following up on the point. Varaic needs the healing so bad. Will in fact go down, and there we are. Yeah, Bearfoo Hunters, they managed to hold. I'm really impressed. I was, you know, expecting that to be a quick rollover, but I think, you know, Blahaj fan club, they just get a little bit too sloppy. They get, you know, a little bit, you know, they don't respect the Nano Blade. They don't, you know, see the recontest coming in from Kewi. They're not ready for it, and they just get cleaned up. And then that last fight especially, I think that really hurts. There, you know, you like, sure, you spend your Primal Blade turn, you get shut down, but you trade Rally and Tectonic Shock for. There's no ults left on the board, really, for either side, except the Nano Boost coming up from Hypothesis, and they just, you know, they try to hold the Mega Room, it doesn't work, they stagger out, and then they, you know, they waste their Nano. When really, if they cleanly reset, they could have just taken a clean Nano fight, and they probably would have won. So I think just in those really close moments, I think we saw, you know, Blahaj fan club maybe playing with their food a little, maybe, you know, just the discipline not quite there. But you really feel like, yeah, if you're Blahaj fan club, you're kicking yourself for losing that map.
Yeah, I just find myself in my head replaying that same fight over and over again. We saw it during the play of the game, where you kill 3-4 members of the Bearfoo Hunters, and I'm struggling to see how that does not convert to the 60% cap. It's all that they needed, and they were so close to getting it. But I think, like you mentioned, it was that greed. It was that playing with their food and overextending when they didn't need to. And that really sealed the deal for them. And then after that, they did not look like the same team.
Yeah, and I mean, really, shout out to Kewi. Like, on the attack side, Kewi had a bit of a tough time finding value on the Hanzo and the Widow. I don't think that's an individual play issue. I think that's just the comp wasn't correctly set up, you know, to play around those hit scan picks. But I think on the Genji, really great work from Kewi. Really understood the objective, you know, pressuring out that Widow. You know, and in the process, you also shut down the Mercy. And I mean, you just a fantastic recontest from Kewi. You know, Bastas hit some nice headshots, got play of the game. But for me, that recontest from Kewi with the Nano and the Blade, that's play of the game. You know, solo on point into an orbital ray, manages to survive long enough to get Blade out, get trades, and ultimately, you know, allow your team to stabilize and win the fight. I think that's a real, you know, heroic game-winning play from Kewi.
Yep. So looking forward at this next map, right? We're going to be heading to Well, I'm gazing into my crystal ball. Flashpoint. Flashpoint's the next map, and Flashpoint is another one of those brawly maps. It has a little more strategy than Control. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of it is going to really come down to how these teams are able to take their fights and how they're going to be able to execute on all of this theory. So, what do you foresee happening on this map? What do you think the keys to success will be?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general on Flashpoint, it's a map that plays kind of similar to Control, but even more so plays around those speed boost characters, the Juno and the Lucio. It tends to play for, like these fast-paced matchups. Ult economy matters a ton, an insane amount actually on Flashpoint. But and we saw like a bit of rough ult economy from both teams, but I think especially from Blahaj there. That they're going to want to clean that up. Definitely, I know the players on the team, they're capable of cleaning that up for Flashpoint. But I think the Lucio is the big question, because I think we saw the Lucio Hazard, and Hazard's been banned, so Hazard's available for the rest of the series. Hypothesis and Freyak on the Lucio Hazard just getting so much work done. So the question is really going to be, are Bearfoo Hunters going to be banning out the Lucio and maybe try to take this like a Junior Brig Mirror? Maybe if you're Blahaj, you ban the Juno, try and force the Lucio matchup. If you're not mirroring the Hazard as Bearfoo Hunters, then what are you going to be playing? Are you going to be playing maybe a Reinhardt, maybe a Maga, maybe a Wrecking Ball? All of those are options, particularly depending on the particular Flashpoint map. There's a lot available, but it is going to be, no matter what, whether you're running these brawl or dive styles, it's going to be these really fast-paced, aggressive comps. So I'm a bit worried for Bearfoo. I think they're going to want to try and show a different look, try and maybe get away from the Hazard Lucio mirror, because I think they really pretty clearly I think Blahaj just looked stronger on Ilios.
Yeah, truly. And I wonder, so this map, right, it's going to set a lot of the tone, because after Flashpoint comes Push, and that Push is a very, very difficult map for some teams. It has a lot of heartbreak. It can be very close or even over at the start. So getting this upper leg on Flashpoint and having the comfort of walking through Push and not feeling pressured, not having this be your do or die moment, that's going to be a big lead as well. And I'm just waiting to see what these bans are, right? The bans on this next map are really going to tell a story. Are they going to try and target ban? We saw a lot of Sojourn getting played.
That is true. The Sojourn Mercy really deadly. And Mercy's been banned, but the Sojourn can still be banned. Yeah, actually, that is a good question. Will Dr. Tony be on the Moira, and they're running the Moira Lucio, or maybe back over into the Mercy? I think the Mercy style is really tricky to make work on Flashpoint, just because of the lack of a speed boost kind of hurts you, unless you're playing a Mercy Juno, which is then just a really squishy backline. But yeah, I mean, going up 2-1 in the series is going to be really big. Because then that means no matter what, you'll have bans and you'll have map pick going into map 5, and it looks like we have our map pick. It's going to be Saravasa.
All right,
pick for Blahaj. That's not too surprising. That's sort of the wider, more open map. So a bit worse for Hazard, but definitely much better for Hitscan, which I think is what they're picking around. And they are in fact banning the Venture and the Lucio. So I think pretty clearly they don't want to play the Lucio matchup. They want to play Mercy, and they want to have the Venture out of the way to protect their Hitscan, to keep that pressure off. And likewise, Bearfoo, they are banning the Sojourn. So Basa's going to have to go over to probably an Ashe or Cass or maybe a Soldier. And Ana, which I don't know if I really see Hypothesis pulling out the Ana. Maybe that's like a specific hero that Lofty wants to play, like maybe a Ramatra or a Maga. Probably not a Roadhog, but maybe something that struggles into Ana. Although we did see them playing the Ana Mercy. I think on Flashpoint that's a bit harder, so probably we'll see like a Kiri Mercy, maybe a Juno Mercy. But I think we have a pretty clear idea of what these teams want to play. Bearfoo probably going to be on that Juno Brig, some sort of ground tank rush style. Blahaj fan club. I'm getting all my names mixed up. Blahaj fan club probably going to be on some sort of Mercy hit scan comp and really just play around Bastas. Same strategy the last 2 maps.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Is there's a lot of validity in trying to sort of ban the Ana out to deal with the Ana Mercy combination. I feel like that bullet might have been fired a little too early, as since Lucio's already off the board, both of these teams are pretty much locked into playing Juno. Playing Flashpoint without a speed boost feels pretty awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Juno, I like the Juno Brig better than Juno Mercy. It looks like Dr. Tony might in fact be playing the Brig. Juno Mercy is in fact pretty difficult, and Bastas is going to be on the Torbjorn. This is a sleeper pick. Not many people know about this, but Torbjorn, and it is going to be the full Sim Torb. Okay, this is like sleeper meta. These seem like really silly troll picks, but I promise you, this is being played on the world stage by the very best players just yesterday in Korea. So this is real stuff. This is a powerful composition that Blahaj have.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people look at them and say, oh, it's the builder comp. No, these are 2 people with guns that do a lot of damage with their guns, have very powerful abilities that happen to have turrets. That's kind of sort of the way that the meta has evolved.
The whole idea of the Sim Torb is you put tons and tons of pressure onto the hazard, make it like really hard. So Lofty's really gonna have to watch out for that. It looks like Wildtank's though gonna be the first one to fall down low. I like Chicken really pumping out damage. TP already out for Aesthetic Sock, and the first cap is going to be going the way of Bearfoo. Just Kewi pumping out a lot of damage on Genji.
Yep, some very well placed walls from Lofty to sort of zone them off and make sure that the first cap is theirs, but Paraic is able to zone the enemy team back. In this case, Kewi is caught slightly off guard. Aesthetic Sock gets knocked away from their own teleporter, unfortunately, but Farake is able to trade that back with 2 kills, one onto Brig and one onto the hazard, and make that 3. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere now.
nice work from Farake. And we saw, Aesthetic Sock gets kind of caught up, booped away, and it gets a bit scrappy. Trades go out, but we saw, the way that Blahaj were able to, flip the point is by just muscling Lofty off the point, just pumping out so much damage. He goes so low, and there again, Aspas, the Torbjorn is a significant ranged threat. Lofty again walled off, and with the Sim beaming in your face, the block really does not matter much. Genji can't block that beam damage either. They're really gonna have to start respecting this Symmetra a bit more.
Yeah, it's just the Symmetra TPing right on top of Hazard with the amount of disrespect, and then also having the wall right behind the Hazard to body block and keep him in that room. There's just no escaping, no way to make it out. And now with 90% on the point, it looks like they are going to try to contest it, but can they make it stick? There are a lot of ultimates ready and available. They're going to pop open the molten carpet, and they're unfortunately too late. Blahaj secure the point, but Torb is the one that loses ult and not much for it.
I mean, I think you absolutely take that if you're Bastas. You molten core, you zone them off the point, force the C9. Blade coming up early now from Kewi on the cross. Really nice wall from Freya. Completely shuts that one down. Kewi, I think maybe typing something. Maybe just had to, take his hands off the keyboard for a second. As you're just gonna get absolutely nothing for that Blade. At least you get the point cap for the molten core. And there's a Simwall push back out. That's gonna be kited out with the Juno Ray, although not kited fully. Another wall for Frick. He's gonna split Spark Plug. Aesthetic Sock does get traded. Rays come out on both sides. And Frick now in a whole lot of trouble. It was looking really good for Blahaj. They had early point presence, but yeah, just a nice kite back from Wild Pants.
Yeah, I think you can really trace that back to the way that Bearfoo played around that wall. They really made sure that Blahaj were trying to play a little too far ahead, but then Bearfoo just ran at them instead. And the way that they ran at them, they completely invalidated the Symmetra wall and made sure that their attention was split between two forces, and they weren't really able to retaliate between that.
Yeah, I think just a nice kite with that speed boost from Wild Pants, and just a little bit of an overcommittal with their own Ray speed push. From Blahaj. They do get the early flip though, 20%, and they do have an ult advantage, or no, it's even ults coming in here. They've managed to equalize that ult advantage from spending the molten core though. Early rally from Dr. Tony, words from Hypothesis, rally back in response from Sparkplug, gonna stun up Dr. Tony, get them caught in that downpour from Lofty. Really nice work from Bearfoo Hunters.
That was a very, very well executed counter. They really made sure that there was going to be no shenaniganery, no tomfoolery on the point. The way that Hazard's downpour really shut all of them down, and especially made sure that Dr. Tony does not get any value out of the rally, was excellent. Talking about Dr. Tony, they fall again. They really made sure to take that fight early. The downpour does catch Ash off guard. Hypothesis and Asbest are both able to get their kills. Can they touch the point before it flips? No.
Yeah, I think probably that's a lost fight anyway. Assass will find the trade onto I Like Chicken. Actually, maybe it would have been a winnable fight. Fresh is not quite able to find the touch. Yeah, I think just in general, it comes down to, you know, with the downpour rally, you know, match fight on both sides. Those ults are just so much stronger, I feel, on, you know, defensively. You know, in hindsight, you maybe would like to, if you're Blahaj, try and like fake a push, you know, a feint with one of those, try to bleed ults out. And maybe, you know, get your Molten Core online or something like that, and then make a push after, but they just really commit with the rally, get caught up with the downpour. Now though, here's the Molten Core coming out from Bastas. Blade in response from Kewi is going to come out already low, but Dr. Tony is the first one to go down. Kewi does manage to find the Torbjorn, will, yes, get the pocket to survive. And that's going to be this third point, early gap going the way of Bearfoo Hunters, just spending the blade for that.
Yeah, I mean, from the last 2 points that we've seen cap, the first team to get the cap, they don't really get the final hold in the end. I mean, a lot of that can be attributed to just how much steam they're blowing off in the initial fights and how much they're extending and expending to secure those picks, and then just not able to convert that in the longer term. Now, the entire team is grouped up on the church stairs. Unfortunately, they're not able to walk forward just due to the amount of spam that the enemy team has. Aesthetic Sock is able to cut the point in half with the Symmetra wall. They're able to walk around in Wild Pants with the orbital ray. Lofty gets a kill. Aesthetic Sock trades it back. The Sparkplug is able to get one back. Now with the slight advantage for the Bearfoo, are they able to convert this into anything more? Yes, they are.
Yeah, it is an expensive fight for Bearfoo. You know, they have to spend double support ults and Bob, but it looks like they are going to get this next checkpoint. Yeah, I think losing that first fight for Blahaj is just quite tough to, you know, retake with the Torb Sim. Aesthetic is going to be going over onto the Genji. It's a nice try from Hypothesis with the Ray. It does bleed out the Bob and Rally in response, but it's just tough, you know, with two players already down to sustain the Ray fight. Wild Pants just had the Ray online first, and ultimately Blahaj not quite able to, you know, survive or escape that one as they would have liked. I think maybe a little bit too aggressive with the sim wall when they're down on orbital ray, but I mean they're off the sim now.
Yeah, Bearfoo are sitting comfortably in the lead, even in terms of the ultimate charge. It's not that much of a difference. Kiwi gets a kill, Sparkplug and Wild Pants as well. They're just absolutely executing on the Blahaj team. They're able to get a first cap again.
Will Aesthetic Sock get staggered out here? It looks like, in fact, she will. Ah, that hurts. Yeah, I mean, I think map 1 we saw, you know, Lofty getting the worst of the hazard mirror, really getting punished, but in this, you know, Juno Brig setup that we have going on right now, I think we've seen Lofty getting, like, actually really tremendous value. A lot of nice walls from Freyek, but the downpours from Lofty have just been getting huge value time after time after time. While on Freyek, going to be, you know, forcing some resources, forcing some punish. Already winning that early HP trade. Dr. Tony falling incredibly low. Rally forced out Kelly with the blade. Won't be able to find anything, but Aesthetic Sock does fall down when you get the rally out.
Yeah, Dr. Tony is just making sure that the team is, you know, supported and healed up from the back, and they are trying to continue to make this happen. They'll continue pushing forward. Parade gets a kill. Unfortunately, he is not going to get enough support that he needs, and the wall is the one to finish him off. You know, Lofty almost overextends in turn. 90% on the cap. They have to make something happen. Blahaj needs to run in. Freyek makes the last second swap onto the ball. Dr. Tony contests first, falls for it. Asbest and Hypothesis as well. There's just no way to make their comeback, and it looks like Bearfoo are going to be sitting in the lead for the first time this series.
Yeah, I mean, the Torb Sim doesn't quite work out. They swap over to the Ash Genji, I think, a little bit too late. But ultimately, for me, I don't think it's so much about the DPS as this map is just about the backlines. I think we saw the first map, it's the Lucio Curie versus the Lucio Moira. And with, you know, the Lucio Moira Genji Hazard, it's just the pace. more than any individual player, it's the pace and the coordination and the aggression from Blahaj that just kept taking Bearfoo off guard. I think this time in the Juno Brig mirror, it's a bit slower. It's a bit more about these really disciplined ult trades and that sort of thing. A lot more brawl than dive, if you want to think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're seeing, just on the Juno Brig, I think the backline advantage for Blahaj fan club is just completely, that we saw the first two maps. I think their supports were getting more value on the whole. I think this third map, not at all the case. So maybe if you're Blahaj fan club, maybe you actually don't want to play the Juno Brig. I think the idea there is that they felt like they had a stronger Juno Brig compared to the Lucio matchup, but maybe actually they're better off playing the Lucio Moira, maybe ban Brig going forward. But yeah, Bearfoo Hunters up 2-1 now.
I mean, we saw that match how much Blahaj struggled with attacking these points. Right, they seem to be a very defender-sided team. From what we've seen on King's Run, what we've seen on the control map earlier, is they're going to struggle a little bit to capture that point, but once they do, they don't let go of it. And the issue here for them is that on Flashpoint, it's not guaranteed you don't have a designated attack and you don't have a designated defense. And the same thing moving forward is we're in a no man's land territory. Push is completely reliant on how the first 1 to 3 fights go. So if they're not able to get that early game advantage, if they're stuck playing that keep up game, they're going to fall behind even more, and things might already be said and done in the favor of the Hunters.
Yeah, I think for Blahaj, I think they kind of had a misread for me on this Flashpoint. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure what they're thinking is that they want to play slow around like the hit scan. That's their strategy. We saw it with like the Mercy Soj on King's Row. And that worked quite well for them. But I think on Ilios, the way they won was just with aggression and with that Lucio style, with that Lucio Hazard, which I really think could have worked well for them on Flashpoint. I think going into this next map though, on push, on Flashpoint, you absolutely need a Lucio or a Juno, right? It's absolutely essential. It's almost impossible to play, say Mercy on Flashpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you could like play Mercy Juno and like ban Tracer, to protect your backline. But that's sort of a bit of a long shot. But I think on push, if you think of like a Colosseo or something like that, actually the Mercy Sojourn, much more viable there. Those heroes are definitely available. Can't be banned anymore. So I think if they want to play their sort of like slow, hit scan Mercy style, where they're really just playing around best, to hit those shots with Mercy boost, I think they have the option to now draft for that on this push.
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting here as Blahaj and you're looking at the next map, and you really have to pick a lane. Right? There's two styles that they've shown us that they're very comfortable with. It's like you mentioned on Ilios, with that complete all-out aggression when you're running the Lucio and the Tracer and the Hazard, and you're making sure to just completely pound them over and over and over and make sure that they don't have any space to breathe. We saw just how effectively that worked. Then we also saw that Dr. Tony really, really likes their Mercy. And it is a bit unfortunate that their Mercy and their Lucio players are different people, because you can't really swap between those so fluidly without risking a lot of ult charge being thrown down the drain. Now, if they were to go with the same Mercy Sojourn or Mercy Soldier, that could net them a lot of benefit. But again, when you're playing a Hazard, you're not really giving that Mercy combo a lot of room to breathe. So it's sort of, they're kind of stuck up in a lose-lose situation depending on what they want to target specifically.
I mean, they definitely have options. I think you can't ban the Hazard, but you can. I mean, you can't ban Lucio anymore either, but you can maybe ban something like Kiriko to make the Hazard harder. Maybe ban. I think Genji hasn't been banned yet, so you could ban the Genji. You could maybe play something like a Sigma, to play to shut down the Hazard. Or just like play, style-wise, just play these really long wide angles that you have on a lot of these push maps. Definitely I think the Mercy is playable. If they're not trying to play the Mercy, then I think you really want to force this like really, really fast-paced style But then if they want to go for that and they ban, say, Brig, to force it to a Lucio matchup, then Bearfoo do have the option of banning the Genji because Genji is available. Um, yeah, I mean, I think if just from what I've seen, if I'm coaching Blahaj, I'm telling them to play Mercy Soj, ban Genji, take it to like Colosseo probably. But yeah, I really don't know. I mean, maybe this team has another look altogether that they want to show us. But if they want to play what they played on their Kings Row, which worked really well in the defense, I think they had a harder time getting it working on the offense, just sort of a bit sloppy there with the macro of it. But I think the Mercy, the Ana, the Hazard, the Sojourn, all of those strong heroes that they've been wanting to play, those are all available. Those have all been banned. They cannot be banned any longer. I think Tracer and Genji are the main heroes that we've been seeing a lot. Tracer, Genji, and Brig are the main heroes we've been seeing a lot that could be banned.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a question of when are those going to be banned out, because those enable different styles. Or if you want to play some wacky style, like for instance, if you want to play Wrecking Ball, you could ban something like a Cassidy or a Sombra, to those characters that disrupt the Wrecking Ball. Or if you want to play like a Sigma, you could ban like Rhine or Ramatra. These. I think as we get deeper into the series, we're gonna see bans come out less to ban out the like main default comps and more to enable you to play some sort of weird curveball comp and ban the counter swaps to it, right? So sort of like another higher layer in the ban setup. It looks like we are in fact going to Colosseo. Bans are going to be Brig and Ashe. Yeah, so basically as expected. I think the Ashe, I guess they favor the Sojourn. I'm not too sure about the Ashe ban there. I guess they just favor the Sojourn. Maybe they want to keep the Ashe in their pocket for map 5 when we get there, so that can't be banned as well. Brig ban, though, definitely puts away the possibility of Juno Brig. Means that if you're Bearfoo now, you either have to play Lucio Kiri or you have to match a sort of slow backline, something like an Ana Brig or a Brig Zen or an Ana Zen or an Ana Kiri, or probably some sort of, or no, you can't play Brig, so probably some sort of like double flex or Lucio comp.
Yeah, I really think that Ashe ban is really a play at one of Bearfoo Hunters' comfort picks. I mean, we've seen it earlier in the series, and especially on a map like Colosseo, an Ashe or high-range characters like that would be very, very impactful and important for them to have. And I know we've seen a lot of Widow, a lot of Hanzo, a lot of high-range characters in this match too. It's just removing one more option that can be often used to retaliate against them.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see what Bearfoo come out with. I think if you're Bearfoo, you probably want to play like a Lucio Kiri Genji style. So then the question is, what do you ban? If Freya's gonna be on the Hazard, you can't touch that. If Hypothesis is gonna be on the Ana, you can't touch that. Maybe you want to ban something like a Cassidy, to foreclose that sort of like eventual counter swap. That's the sort of thing that like a Hitscan Mercy team might swap to if they're getting pressured out by dive. But I think this ban situation is actually really tough for Bearfoo Fan Club. I think Bearfoo Hunters. Sorry. I think the one silver lining that you have for Bearfoo Hunters is that even if the bans in response to it aren't clear, I think it's very clear what the style is that Blahaj want to play. They want to play Mercy Soj, and that's why they're taking us to this long map, and they don't want to play into the Juno Brig. And it's going to be Moira Tracer for Bearfoo. So this may be a bit of a misread. I don't think Blahaj were going to be playing the Lucio Moira anyway. I really think they were going to be playing the Mercy Ana. So if you wanted to ban Lucio Moira from map 5, you've thrown that one away. So I don't know if I love that for Bearfoo. I mean, maybe they know something I don't. The Tracer ban, though, is very good. I think the Tracer, because they've been playing Tracer Soj with the Mercy, because really the Tracer is actually very, very strong defensively, very much able to mark out these angles and like make it very, very hard for the DPS for Bearfoo to get a clean dive onto the Sojourn, and the Tracer just acts kind of like an off tank in that way, makes a ton of space for the Ana Soj. So I think actually the Tracer ban I like, the Moira ban less so.
Yeah, so the Tracer ban is a very good ban, like you mentioned. Bearfoo are really making sure that Aesthetic Sock from Blahaj cannot use that. They are shown multiple times how effective that character is in their hands, and taking that away, perfect. The Moira, I think, again, it's trying to make another play to counter that Hazard death ball sort of style of composition. I don't believe we're going to be seeing it again, but it does disable another one of those components.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely the idea.
Yeah.
It's just, I think, I don't know. I think you maybe want to save that for map 5, like on these what's it? It's escort map 5, right? On these escort maps.
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
the Moira is not that strong, but you do see on some of these, like on circuit, for instance, you can really see actually these really high tempo Lucio Moira rush styles find value there. Certainly, I think that's more likely on the Colosseo. I guess it does mean though that no Juno Brig, no Lucio Moira, so Blahaj are locked into Lucio Curie or Mercy.
Yeah.
So they don't. I don't think they were planning to play Lucio Moira, but if they want to change their minds and swap to it mid map, they no longer have that option. Is the one thing.
Yeah, and I think to read into it further is that Bearfoo, they're trying to all in here. They want to secure the series, and they're not really thinking about a potential game 5. They want to end it on game 4. So that's another reason that I can see that they wanted to target the Hazard composition so specifically and sort of narrow these options down, is to make sure that, yes, this will be their biggest shot, their best chance at securing this victory, in my opinion.
So now we're gonna have to see what these teams roll out on. I'm expecting Hazard Lucio Curie from Bearfoo. I'm expecting Hazard Ana Mercy. From Blahaj, it looks like I might be mistaken. Lucio Curie from Blahaj. I don't know. I think they really could have played the Mercy. Actually, I think they really could have made that work.
They're really rolling out the pocket picks. I do like the direction.
If this is going to be the matchup, I mean, I think it's kind of just a skill matchup, but I kind of like the Blahaj comp a bit better. You know, the Queen into Winston is a strong matchup. Sojourn really strong on Colosseo. Venture is a bit harder to make work, although of course, you know, the Venture Genji can put a lot of pressure on the Sojourn. So keep your eyes on Bast, on what they're able to do. As it looks like Team Blahaj, they're gonna just go to flip the map. They're recognizing they have sort of the slightly stronger frontline presence with the Junker Queen. I don't know about this though. I mean, are they gonna be able to stop the bot from just rolling away? Or walking away, I suppose. It's not a cart.
I mean, I think that Blahaj are very happy being the ones to just be dove into, and Farid gets a quick kill on I Like Chicken. There's no chance to retaliate. The knife finds its spot, and the axe hits its target as well. Now you see Lucio just flying around through the fight. Wildpants almost gets dropped down with an inch of their life. Lottie is the one that takes the fall first, and then Sparkplug as well, Wildpants too. And the risky maneuver does pay off. Kiwi tries to take anything that they can away from this, and no, unfortunately, they cannot.
Miraculous that Bast doesn't get traded. I think the fight was pretty much over after that first rush with the shout from Farid came through. Just really nice high tempo plays, same stuff we saw in Ilios. I guess that's what they were going for, not the Mercy. I was just wrong. They knew something I don't. But again, another huge connection with the axe. Farid falling a little bit low. And it looks like Blahaj, they are going to be giving up a bit of space now. Bast coming under a lot of pressure, as is Dr. Tony. Those two are both going to be going down. Will Team Blahaj be able to find any exit trades? It looks like they will not. So just 35 meters on the board. Hypothesis has to make sure not to get staggered out here. We have a slight Container Rush advantage. We have a slight ult advantage in general for the side of Bearfoo Hunters.
Yeah, those are absolutely...
Hypothesis, though, might come up big.
Yeah, that was a tragic fight. Aesthetic Sock gets the kill into Kiwi, extended way too far. And now, with the Kitsune Rush as well, they're just going to steamroll through this next fight. And I do think that last fight prior to this was a little bit tragic, as Blahaj's greed kind of grew a little too big for their coffers. They were a little too spread out. And the Winston's just jumping directly over the Junker Queen onto the back line, just completely wreaked havoc.
Yeah.
Now, as they're both staging for this next fight, this is going to be a big one. Dragonblade comes out and is going to be able to secure one kill. I Like Chicken trades it again, and the Kitsune Rush does split the fight in half. I Like Chicken with 2 more kills. This Venture is going crazy.
Yeah, big stuff on the Venture. Yeah, I mean the blade from Aesthetic Socks just kind of gets shut down. You maybe would like to have, you know, the beat in there, but I guess Freya just goes down so early. Team Blahaj, they opt to just take the 1-for-1 trade, close that fight out. They do have a big ult advantage, or not really an ult advantage. They have a lot of ults, and it's really a positional advantage for the overclock from Bast. Rocky jumping up now, has the primal in hand, is going to primally overclock. Shades of Fearless in 2022 with this. Primal not quite able to connect with Bast. There we go, connects again. Bast in a lot of trouble now. Winston falls very low, but it is going to be the Sojourn going down first in the piece. Greg with the Rampage, not going to be able to find too much of that. Is going to go down. Beats traded on either side. Blade comes out. So many ults being traded. Not quite able to find the slash onto Belusio is Kewi. Boot back again, but ultimately the kills come through, and it looks like the lead is going to come through again as well for Bearfoo Hunters. Really nicely done there.
A really comfortable position for the Bearfoo to be in. I mean, they had 4 ultimates before this fight, and they expended all 4 of them, but so did Blahaj. They burned everything that they had in the tank. Now, as they're approaching Operation Butt Scratch, they're getting to the checkpoint. This is a major point for you to get hit on push.
First pick again, though. Dr. Tony is going to be traded out. Wild Things, yeah, just the healing, Spark Plug goes down, the healing's not going to be there. But I believe Bearfoo Hunters did in fact get the checkpoint after all that.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to tell, but I do believe they did as well. 66.43 meters.
Yeah, no, they must have got
yeah,
it, yeah.
They all get the advanced spawn. They're able to run back to the fight so much faster. And this is where they really start to lay that pressure on. Blahaj needs to win multiple fights in a row just to equalize this and then advance further.
Right side for Blahaj, they didn't give up any trades, cleaning up that fight. Frick already falling very low, though. They're going to need to make a move soon. There's the Kitsune Rush comes out, full fight from Blahaj. If they're able to keep Frick up, this is going to be very nice for them. They fully just disengage Kitsune Rush. Kewi, again, under a ton of pressure, will survive. And so you get some positioning for that, but not much else. There's a Kitsune Rush coming out for Blahaj. Dr. Tony under a lot of pressure, but so is Lofty, so is Kewi. Basa's just pumping the damage. The Winston is going to fall. Kewi is going to fall as well. And yeah, again, no trades. Again, this fight, really nice disengage for Blahaj fan club. I thought, you know, Frag was in danger of getting first pick there, but ultimately, you know, the shout amp, just the double speed, they're able to fully get away from that Kitsune Rush, get much more value with their own. And now they have 4 ults heading into this next fight. It's looking actually really good for Blahaj.
Yeah, Lofty tries to dive onto Dr. Tony. He scraps the tries, does get the dive successfully. And Aesthetic Sock does take down Wild Pants in retaliation. Now they are going to be very short on heals. Aesthetic is too low, too far out of the fight, and Overclock does try to save it. Foravik is the one that's going to take down Kiwi, and the Venture Ultimates is not going to find any kills, unfortunately for her. For them, sorry. Askbast is the one to get a kill. Foravik does get another as well, and Blahaj are sitting very comfortably now as they're marching towards that checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, you did see the cart stolen by Bearfoo in that fight, so it's not going to be the lead going over right away to the side of Blahaj, but they do still have this Rampage beat online for Wild Pants. Bass needs help, is going to get the help. Kewi diving in, really trying to find that kill on his own, but it doesn't look like it's going to come through. It is in fact going to be Spark Plug. Traded out instead. Wild Pants in a ton of trouble will fall as well, and this is going to be the checkpoint very soon, going the way of Blahaj fan club, unless Kewi can really clutch it up with his blade, and it looks like it won't quite be happening. You're gonna want that one back if you're Kewi.
Man, a valiant effort, but there they are. They're at the checkpoint. Aesthetic Sock gets another kill as well. They're just continuing to kill the staggering Bearfoo. Now, as this is an incredibly hard pill to swallow, because as soon as this point flips over, now the onus is on Bearfoo to get these kills. The beat does buy them a lot more extra time, and Lofty gets the kill onto Hypothesis. The big Rampage does cut off all of their excess healing, and the Wild Pants takes the fall.
They're still trying to clutch this up. Spark Plug expends a Kitsune Rush. It looks like it's just Lofty with that. Even with the Kitsune Rush, I don't think you're going to be able to win that 2v1. Unless I'm completely mistaken. I mean, Bearfoo Hunters, they keep coming back. Blade now from Aesthetic Sock will finish off Wild Pants, will take down Kewi as well, and that is going to be the checkpoint. Finally, going the way of Blahaj, and it's been so long that double support ult is now online for Blahaj. That's how long that fight lasted, and now the lead, and they're just gonna get out of there.
Yeah. And they don't have to extend any further. All they have to do is get out. Never mind, they're going back in. The beat is very, very ambitious, and the Kitsune Rush as well. They don't want to just squeak by. They want to win this in dominating fashion. Unfortunately, they have not been able to secure any kills. Both of those ultimates, in fact, both of their supports do fall. So throwing away that double support ult lead might not have been the best play.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a bit of an overcook. I think into the, Genji Venture Lucio, you don't really have a clear target to punish. But I mean, they are dying on point though. They are still, bleeding that out. They did get the primal forced. Yeah, I mean, really, it's anyone's game still. Eyes on these DPS ults for Bastask and I Like Chicken. Those are really gonna be the fight deciders. Unless we see some just like magic pick in the neutral early on. You're gonna really want to see. I mean, Freya kind of spawned back late though, so you're gonna need to see, a setup. The Void conceding the lead. The lead is so close.
Yep, 3 meters, 2 meters. They are forced onto the point. Blahaj are not able to sustain their tank. Now the overclock from Askmaster is going to try and stabilize things, but he's not going to get any picks. Hypothesis does get a kill onto Laffy, but Laffy is the one to kill Pathetic Sock. Hypothesis is really just trying the absolute hardest to keep the team in it, and that might just actually be it.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I thought for sure they were going to be able to get the lead. Really nice presence of mind from Blahaj just to keep the contest going through all that. Stop the lead from flipping over. And now they actually have a really nice, ult setup. They're behind on Kitsune, but they're ahead on beat. Blade from Kewi, but I think with the cart in his midpoint, you need, I think, 2 fights if you're Bearfoo.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. You do need the 2 fights, and that might be asking for a little too much. If they're able to win this, though, they might be able to claw back some of that ultimate economy that they are behind.
Oh, yeah, there's Intramurals, but Wildpants down early. Oh! Ajax from Hypothesis. Sparkplug is incredibly low, but will eventually get traded out. Fast dying on the point, and now there's one more, partial fight for Rayek. Has that Queen ult online. Sparkplug got traded out, so no Suzu available. Looks like Frick is going to be going for this big axe connection onto Kewi. Huge rampage connection, 2 going down already. Lafe surely soon to follow. And there's the blade from Aesthetic Sock. That'll be all she wrote to close that out. Incredibly closely fought, but in the end, Colosseum will go the way of Blahaj fan club.
Yeah, I mean, that game was so close down to the very end, and ultimately what it came down to was that the Kiriko for the Bearfoo Hunters was traded out in the previous fight and did not have enough time to come back. So Blahaj were forced to continue, Bearfoo were forced to continue pushing forward, and they just didn't have their flex support, and that really, really hampered them when it came to that last ditch effort. And that was absolutely brought back on the back of Hypothesis. I'm not gonna lie.
Blahaj just did a good job in that last fight. I think playing around the macro state of the game. They recognize there's down on ults, but they have a lot coming up. They have cart control, so they push the cart to the middle point. They kind of force a fight there, but then they pull back a bit, play slow to get their ults online, and then once Bearfoo look to commit, they commit really aggressively. They're not looking to win the fight, but they do what they're trying to do, which is they slow down the robot and they get trades. They trade out the Kiriko, which is enormously valuable, and then in the end, that last sort of scrappy half fight, eventually they're able to win. I think Blahaj, they're looking really good on this Lucio style, and I think if you've watched, if you've paid attention to or played in even UVT, Overwatch, and Intramurals before this, you'll know that is a trademark of these Hypothesis teams, is just this macro control. He's a real shot caller, really, leads the team in game, has a great understanding of the macro, especially push and pull of the game state. And I think we're seeing, this with the huge aggression. They're making these ult plays like that Kitsune beat rush, which, even if it didn't work, it still, shows that, they have a clear idea of what they're going for. Even if that idea maybe was a little overcooked. But again, just like really nice kites, really nice, just like understanding of how to play around the macro, play around the objective state. Yeah, I think these Lucio comps, you know, maybe we were thinking that, you know, it's sort of the Mercy play that they want to play lean into, but actually they're looking really, really good on these Lucio comps, even if they're forced onto the Kiri rather than the Moira.
Yeah, and now that all of Blahaj's core components of their Hazard team comp are available, I think they're very, 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 very comfortable going into this map 5 situation, right? I think the only character that the hunters can ban that would affect this composition is Genji, but we've seen it multiple times is that Aesthetic Sock is very comfortable running the Tracer instead and achieving similar results, if not better.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't have any tools to ban out this particular sort of style of comp. You can maybe ban the Queen, but then I think Freya probably just goes onto the Hazard, especially if it's on a on escort. Yeah, I don't know what you pick if you're Bearfoo hunters. I mean, you do have your Winston available, which we saw, you know, Lofty quite happy to play the Winston. But yeah, I mean, maybe you could like take it to a circuit and like ban Widow, try and like play, because I mean, in the past we have seen these sort of like Rhine Rush styles work on circuit.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you're kind of teeing up the Hitscan Mercy. I mean, in general, the Hitscan Mercy, you know, there's very few escort maps in the game where, you know, Widow or Mercy Soj aren't strong. You know, Gibraltar, Havana, Dorado, Circuit, Route 66, these are all strong hitscan maps. I mean, maybe Route is like the weakest of them, but then, you know, if you ban out Genji, it's, you know, still the hitscan is pretty like seriously playable. So it's I don't know if I have a clear idea of what to go for Bearfoo here, but I think balls in their court. They do have map pick, they do have first bans. Really, the way that this map 5 plays out is going to be all on just hinging on what they choose.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult to speculate just based off of, you know, like you said, the variety that we have in the map pool currently. I'm very interested in seeing how these teams play now and when we reach that organized attack and defense style mode, right? Because it's crazy to think now in modern Overwatch, but those rigid roles don't really exist in as prevalent a fashion, right? Out of all of our game modes that we've played tonight, this is only present in 2. Now, whichever side they decide to start on will also tell us a little bit about how confident these teams are. I know a lot of teams, if they're feeling less secure about their performance, they would rather go attack first, and they will just push out as much as they can, and then after that they set a strict target for themselves. Right, they know exactly how much they need to hold until, and then that sort of helps, you know, clutch up. You're keeping a mental track about exactly where you can be on a map, right?
I think we saw. I mean, both teams full held on the King's Row, so not a great display of how these teams are going to play around the escort mode. But it looks like we are going to be going to Gibraltar, so that is the diviest dive map that ever did dive. Bearfoo, they're going to be banning out the Torb. So, you know, we saw Bast on the Torb. Torb very strong into the Winston, very strong into, in general, dive picks. Banning out the Diva, which is, you know, something that Freya is known for. And Blahaj, they're banning out Ball Zen. Feels kind of redundant. I feel like you probably don't play either of those characters without the other. But no Wrecking Ball. So it's basically going down to Winston and Hazard are the tanks that you're really able to play on this map. You're going to be seeing a Tracer matchup, which if you're Aesthetic Sock, I'm fairly confident she's quite happy about that. And then, you know, maybe on a Brig. This is historically a big on a Brig map. Neither of those heroes can be banned, of course, but I think you can make Mercy work if you maybe have something like a Cassidy, you know, that like you really put a lot of pressure on the Winston, or just really trust in your, you know, individual players to survive. And it looks like that is going to be the move for Blahaj. They're going to be playing this on a Mercy Soj Tracer Winston style. Exactly what they played on King's Row worked really, really well for them on their defense. And it's tough to break this, you know. I mean, in theory, the Ana's vulnerable, but if the Ana plays wide and far enough, it's really hard to actually make an approach if, you know, your Tracer's getting marked out by their Tracer, and if if their their hit scan is just pumping so much damage with a Mercy boost, all your Ana really needs to do is just play to live. They have less dive power, and less power to survive dives and play aggressively on the Ana without the Brig, but it doesn't really matter so much. Hypothesis is set up really aggressively though early on. Going to be scouted out by Kelly. Surely is in fact scouted out by Kelly. In a lot of trouble. Finds the Tracer.
Oh my god.
And will go down. You have the Mercy, I guess. You managed to res your Ana. That's an interesting strategy. I was going to say the Ana just sort of plays life, but I guess Hypothesis has another idea about it. He's playing really aggressive.
I think it's absolutely criminal that they get away with it, but I guess that's what the Mercy res enables you to do. And now as they're just pushing that cart underneath of the bridge, they're just going to continue marching on forward. I like Chicken gets the kill into Farake, though. And with the tank down, Blahaj are just in a full-blown retreat.
Yeah, Farake just a little bit aggressive there. Tough to fight without your Winston online. Sparkplug, though, is 1 HP. Aesthetic Sock doing a really nice job stopping up the cart, but Sparkplug does survive. Bearfoo Hunters, they do have this blue box positioning on the high ground. Aspast is going to go down to the Dynamite, but the res is going to be there. And Sparkplug is going to be going down. Wild Pants does not have the resurrect for that, so it is going to be Bearfoo Hunters having to back up. They did get the cart through the tunnel, but it looks like that's all they're going to get. Like, color me corrected. Another late trade onto this Aspas, just falling under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, this is just an incredibly messy sort of push. Both of these teams are trading back and forth, and I don't understand really where these fights are stopping and when the next one is starting. And you can see that, Bearfoo are cutting in and Blahaj are cutting back, but they were able to restabilize. Now both of these teams are going to be bumping uglies yet again. 2 minutes and 60 seconds left on the clock. Foray gets slept right in front of the enemy team, and Aesthetic Sock is the one to fall first. Aspect strays it back, and now both of the Tracers are out of commission. Lofty tries to trap the Mercy into a small room, but Mercy traps her in there instead. Foray is the one to kill Lofty at the end of the day, but Sparkplug also gets a kill into Aspas. There again, we're on a 3-on-3 situation, and the Mercy does pop. Guardian Angel gets the Hypothesis, gets the kill into I
Just
Like
a
Chicken.
Disgusting flank from Hypothesis. Yeah. I mean, he's been playing so aggressively.
Yeah.
I was really thinking you just play life, keep your tank alive, let your Mercy Ashe win the fight slowly, but I guess they have a different mindset. They want to just play fast, play messy, and ultimately, when they're able to keep the cart contested, we've seen they've whittled down 2.5 minutes just by trading out, and Bearfoo aren't able to get a clean push. They have their Nano Primal turn online, though. If there's a chance for them, it's going to be this. Hypothesis gets caught up with the Pulse Bomb, but he's, again, double trades on the back line. Ashe goes down, but you do have Mercy to be able to find a resurrect. Hopefully, Dr. Tony, under a lot of pressure, will go down. Kelly gets traded out by Aesthetic Sock, though. Pulse comes out, won't quite find the Ashe, but I Like Chicken is in a lot of danger. Nice tracking from Aesthetic Sock. Headshots only, and Frick with the Primal is going to be cleaning up Lofty, so big ult exchange. But we saw, the Nano not quite able to come out from Wild Pants, nor the rally from Sparkplug. The supports from Bearfoo just get traded out so early in the piece, and we have Nano Bob online or Blahaj heading into last fight. These really, really, really powerful defensive ults. This is going to be tough for Bearfoo. There's the Nano.
Wild Pants giving Lofty the ability to just go wreak havoc, my son, and Aspas is the one to fall first from this order. But the big sleep does come out, and Hypothesis is able to, or no, sorry, Hypothesis does fall first. Aspas does get revived. Farake is the one to take down Wild Pants. And there's a rally though from Sparkplug to keep the fight on going. Kiwi takes down Dr. Tony, and okay, after a long series of events and almost dipping into the overtime even, we finally see Bearfoo crossing the finish line onto first point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a nice nano dive from Lofty going first with that one. I mean, maybe a nano on the Ashe would have been nice to, catch. In the end, Frag not able to find too much with the nano boost into the Frigate, except, of course, forcing it to rally. But I think we saw just early on there, Aspas and Dr. Tony just split up, taking opposite doors to kite away from Winston. And we've seen that a couple times. The Mercy split away from the Ashe, and the Ashe dying as a result. Really want to clean that up. Aspas really dominating this high ground, just pumping so much damage out. Aesthetic Sock does get marked up by the Dynamite, but will be able to go out again. You do need to start stopping up this cart, though, if you're Blahaj. It's already halfway through. 2 minutes left on the clock is a fair amount of time if you're Bearfoo.
Yeah, unfortunately, Parek was caught in a bit of a no man's land, stuck underneath where the Ana could, right outside of Ana's line of sight. And even though they did push a significant amount, I don't know if they're going to be able to make it the entire rest of the way. And that Farake is about to come back on a full health bar, and Wild Pants is just getting chased around, forced to, fall back to Brigitte for help. Aesthetic Sock is positioning for this contest. Man, Aspas is completely dominating. Even though you have the Brigitte, that safety that it offers you, Dr. Tony being able to damage boost the Ashe makes her uncontestable, essentially. Farake does get the kill on Kiwi, though, and finally, for the first time in second point, the cart's advance has been stopped, but momentarily.
Momentarily, as Dr. Tony is going to get caught by that Primal Rage. Aesthetic Sock going down. Lockheed finds 2 with the Primal Rage. Shades of Fearless indeed. Faraic does trade out 2 in the back, though. Has the Primal Rage in hand, will opt to use it as respawns are going back from Blahaj. Faraic just needs to play life. Rally comes out from Sparkplug. Sparkplug's still dangerously low. Primal just getting so much damage in. Sparkplug will go down in the end. Kewi opts to commit the blade, but not really able to find anything with this, actually.
Yeah, it just goes around waving that funny little stick that he found in the back yard, which totally gets shut down. And with 20 seconds remaining, they've got to try their best to try and make something work here. They do have the Bob to keep the point alive or to keep the point stalled out for as long as they need to. Meanwhile, Bearfoo have a very, very powerful nano in a very, very angry monkey's pocket. So
and just finding the touch for Bearfoo is going to be tough. Lofty has to go for it. Nano comes out, but he's just sitting on cart. Faraic does fall low on the back line. Bob comes out. Pulse Bomb as well will connect on a Sparkplug. Faraic is still alive. Aesthetic Sock putting tons and tons of pressure on the back line. Faraic will get traded out in the end. Bob on point, matching Lofty, though. I Like Chicken falls fast under tons and tons and tons of pressure, but able to put out lots of damage as well. Just the Mercy touching cart. Nice kill from the Tracer. Aesthetic Sock with 3 so far in this fight, and it looks like, barring some sort of miracle, that will in fact be the end. Yeah. I think you really want that blade back. I think the rally was reasonable enough, but I don't know. I think once the Tracer comes back, during the Winston's Primal, I think you have to recognize, once the Tracer and Mercy are back, you're not winning that fight anymore as Bearfoo. I think they tried too hard to clutch it up. And Kewi, I mean, it's just shades of 2020 Super on Genji, just standing around, holding the blade menacingly, not really swinging at anything, and dying shortly thereafter.
Yeah,
I mean, it's tough, but I mean, considering how the map started, considering how the first 3 minutes went, I think you're not too unhappy with making it almost to the end of second point as Bearfoo.
Yeah, there was just a really, really solid, couple minutes there where you could see everything on the Bearfoo side was just starting to click, and they were winning these fights, and they were continuing to outmaneuver Blahaj, it seemed, at almost every turn. But then afterwards, you saw how much they overcommitted to that one fight when they're trying to completely close out second point without stopping the objective once. And I feel like there they got a little too over-ambitious, and that was ultimately what led to their downfall there. You do see some reshuffling now. Yeah.
I think in general, just so many trades on either side. And these fights get really, really scrappy, really messy, which inevitably is going to favor the defenders. I think Bearfoo just really very rarely able to find a clean fight, and especially with the Mercy to resurrect, that really just hurts them. It's going to be same composition. It looks like I Like Chicken, though, is going to be... no, swap up for the DPS from Team Bearfoo. It looks like they're going all in on pressuring out the hit scan with this Venture, and maybe looking for like really hardcore stall cart with Venture. It's an interesting choice. It's unorthodox, though. I don't really see Tracer.
Yeah, I mean, Venture does have a lot of stall potential, and also a lot of burst. And that is something that Mercy struggles with a lot, is if you're able to burst out the carry that she's trying to pocket, there's not really much carry that's going to be left over unless you have a res in your back pocket. But it's looking like a pretty clean repeat of the last round, except without Hypothesis falling in the first 30 seconds. Now, they are starting to posture a little bit aggressively. Forik is forced out of his position, but they did manage to get their payload all the way underneath the first bridge.
Right now, locking up the backline on top. Not going to be able to find a kill with that, but will be able to find a lot of pressure. Does fall very low, but it's the nade from Hypothesis that finds Kewi. Forik falls. Wild Pants will be traded. That's 2 trades. trades all over the place, but I mean, Aesthetic Sock is moving the cart. I feel like you're not too unhappy with this if you're Blahaj, but it's not how you want the fight to go. I mean, you can afford to have your Winston go down. You can just resurrect that with the Mercy, but losing both supports, that's going to stymie your push right away. They do have a bit of an ult advantage. They haven't quite gotten the cart past Car Wash yet, though. And, you know, one disadvantage of not having the Brig is no armor packs for Aesthetic Sock. She's going to need a bit of help to clear out this Venture. It looks like help is, in fact, what she's getting. Venture cleared out. And now, yeah, I mean, cart making its way underneath. Brave still not quite able to connect on this high ground, but Fast does have, I mean, does have the position, does have the ability potentially to, you know, put some big damage out. There's a shot onto Kelly. Gonna force Bearfoo back a little bit. They're really stuck in here.
Yep, and there's that damage boost really giving you that extra ult charge as well. The overclock is available as well as the nano boost, so I'm interested in seeing how these are going to stack if all overclock comes through, and they're going to dive up to a little too close for comfort really, with the rally being able to stun and Lofty's able to execute, making sure that there's no more damage coming through from Blahaj. Just 3 ult used and really 0 distance effectively gained.
Yeah, I mean, you force out double support ults, but High Balance is going to swap over into the Kiriko. Just kind of hard to find space as Ana on the attack there. Yeah, I mean, maybe, I think that might have been a mistake on the nano. I think the way Bast was sliding in, it might have been intended to be a nano overclock, and then Freya got the nano instead. You do get out double support ults, so it's a bit harder for Bearfoo to hold the space here, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough.
And I think we're really going to start seeing how slippery Bearfoo's comp is and how well that plays into what they're trying to accomplish. 50 seconds remaining, the Primal comes through for Lofty. Kiwi gets the opening pick onto Ask Bast. It's already a damning blow for them. Kiwi's overclock is unfortunately not going to be able to get any more other than Dr. Tony. And Aesthetic Sock is the one to trade it back. Aesthetic looks to be running back to Swan to swap off to something else. Swapping onto the Genji, of course. And this is it. This is the final fight.
Last fight, just that tectonic shock from I Like Chicken online. It's going to be really, really tough. Now in this last fight, yeah, I mean, can't afford to make any more mistakes if you are Team Blahaj. I Like Chicken just still stalling out this card. They've never been able to really consistently clean out this Venture. With the Genji, I guess they're going for, you know, just more aggression onto the backline, but already Farak falling so low, bubble broken.
The whip continues burning down, almost results in a C9. They're really holding on. Dr. Tony manages to res Farak, but Aesthetic Sock drops as well. The numbers are not in their favor, and Farak is just hauling this objective forward, potentially towards their own death. Venture dives in deep in the backline. They're able to out-sustain, but not for too long. Lofty's the one to get a pick, and Aspect as well onto gets taken out. Farak dies, and that's the culmination of an action-packed series. Bearfoo are the ones to take it home.
Yeah, I mean, the Venture swap, really, really smart there from I Like Chicken, recognizing, you know, there's no Brig to help out the Tracer here. And so ultimately, you know, Aesthetic Sock is just never able to win that card fight, never able to force the Venture off. And on Gibraltar, it's all about, you know, that flanker battle on cart to just get the push going. Yeah, they're just never able to find that. Never able to find the big connections with the Mercy. Never able to find really that strong positioning with the Ana, with no Brigida to help. Yeah, I mean, that's tough for Blahaj. That felt really, really winnable for them in the end, but really, really close series. Bearfoo Hunters ultimately will squeak out the win. And it's time now to, I guess, for us to pick our MVP. Do you have any thoughts in mind?
I mean, there was just so much happening. It's a little difficult to really pin down certain players. Do you mind just, you know, walking me through what your thought process is, and then I might be able to piggyback off of that potentially, maybe.
I was thinking, I mean, I was really impressed with Kewi's Genji play on the Kingsford defense. You know, that big recontest in particular. I think Kewi had like solid plays throughout, but I think if I'm gonna give it to one of Bearfoo's DPS, I'd say I Like Chicken. Really was coming up big a lot of the time. I think getting outmatched a bit on the Tracer, it's fair to say, but you know, on the hit scan really coming up big. I think that Gibraltar especially was all you know, all about I Like Chicken on the defense, just you know, doing enormous things on the Venture, and throughout the series really with the Venture finding tons of value. or maybe even Laffy. I think Laffy struggled on the hazard on Ilios.
Hmm.
And I mean, their whole team struggled on their attack. Bearfoo Hunters did on Kings Row. But I think thereafter, we saw on Flashpoint, I think great looks from Laffy on the hazard, just huge value with those downpours. And on the Winston, on both of those last two maps, actually finding consistently quite a lot of value,
Hmm.
good primals, just tons of value in the front line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sort of torn between the two of those.
Yeah, so with the way that things played out, I know I agree with you. Laffy had a lot of impact, but it felt like really classic Overwatch where, oh, you send your Winston Tracer Genji to dive them, and then their Winston Tracer Genji dives your backline, and then you just trade each other out. And I mean, it's really easy for those like the tank and the DPS to look good, but I do really want to commend I Like Chicken and how they played in that last map, and especially the way that they picked out those different characters. And I absolutely loved seeing Venture, so that's going to be my bias pick for MVP.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
that Gibraltar
Mm-hmm.
comes almost entirely down to the Venture swap from I Like Chicken.
Yep.
So really fair enough there. Yeah, I mean, great work on the whole by Bearfoo. Both teams, I mean, took it really, really close. I thought for sure, honestly, after the first 1.5 maps, when we were heading into the attacking side for Blahaj on after the first full hold in Kings Row, I thought for sure we were going to be just seeing a 3-0. Fuller hold comes through, win on Flashpoint. Really great work by Bearfoo Hunters actually to clutch out that win. Yeah, I mean, great work by both teams. And that's the heater to kick off our Intramurals season. We will be having more matches to come. Of course, this is the first week of several.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, all leading up to the big prize, big cash prize being provided by BMO, who once again, big thanks for making helping so much to make this tournament possible, providing the prize pool, which is going to be a prize of $150 to first place. Nice bit of cash. And Bearfoo Hunters, they're getting a good head start if they're looking at taking that trophy, taking that prize. I've been Computer. Joining me has been Spaffles.
Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, this has been a great start to our first week of UFT Overwatch Intramurals. We'll be back very soon with some more.
Bye bye.
Good night, everyone.